10 creative ways to avoid personal evangelism. If you're not engaged in personal evangelism and you feel guilty, allow me to help you deal with that guilt. I've got some special methods that will help you suppress that guilt and push it down. Now, you'll still be guilty, but you might not feel quite so guilty. So here we go. 10 creative methods to avoid personal evangelism. Method number 1, lifestyle only. Lifestyle only. Don't share the gospel by speaking it. Share the gospel by being different. Adopt St. Francis's line that, preach the gospel wherever you go. If necessary, use words, and just decide that it's never necessary. Even though, Scripture says it is necessary, just decide to go lifestyle only. Be different, be salt, be light, but zip it up. And by being different, by being a, quote, good person, you'll feel like you're doing your part. Method number 2, get into discipleship. Now, discipleship is a great word because it's not really a biblical word. It's not the same as disciple making. And the nature of the word discipleship is you can fit anything churchy, even anything tied to Christianity, under the umbrella of discipleship, and you can keep completely busy doing discipleship without actually ever getting around to trying to reach people with the gospel. And we know that if you're busy, it's very hard to feel guilty. Strategy number 3, fix yourself first. Before getting involved in personal evangelism, get your act completely together. Arrive at the optimum level of holiness and Christ-likeness and every other measure and metric of spiritual maturity. Go for inner healing. Get delivered if you need. Deal with all your broken relationships. Just deal with all your stuff first. And the beauty of this method is you'll never be done. You'll never be done fixing yourself or getting fixed, and so you'll never have to engage in personal evangelism. Method number 4, separate yourself. Come out from them and be ye holy. This method is very strategic in the sense that it's kind of tied to the lifestyle one, but it takes it a step further. Basically, you're saying, I want to be holy and pure and different. And so you just pull yourselves away so you don't get tainted by people who are not as holy as you, who are not as upright as you. In fact, you can even withdraw from a lot of Christians by taking this method on. And you can actually use this method, if you take it to extreme, become a complete hermit and cut yourself off from everybody and feel like you're doing your job. But if you decide that you don't want to rub shoulders with people who have any taint of sin, you'll never have to do personal evangelism ever in your entire life. And you can just kind of do what you want. I may have told you of a couple we knew who were friends with a seeker with whom we were also friends. And this seeker liked Christian people and liked this couple and spent time with them. And then one day this Christian couple decided they wanted to separate themselves. So they went to this non-Christian person, this non-Christian family that liked hanging out with them and said, we don't have enough in common with you. We're going to break off our relationship. They really dodged a bullet there because the relationship was getting to the place where they might have had to share the gospel, but by coming out and being separate, they didn't actually have to share the gospel and engage in evangelism. Method number 5, build a healthy Christian community first. This is kind of like fixing yourself. Same kind of idea. So what you want to do here is focus on building a healthy biblical Christian community until it gets really, optimum. And until it gets optimum, you don't do personal evangelism. And so, you get together and you care for each other and pray for each other and share life together and do all of those things. Deal with any relationship breakdowns and just keep dealing with it and make this perfect Christian community, which it never will become. And so you'll never actually need to do personal evangelism. You'll never need to rub shoulders with those dirty, rotten sinners ever again. Method number 6, wait for someone to ask you, what must I do to be saved? And that's a biblical pattern, isn't it? That's what someone said to Paul and Silas, and then they shared the gospel with them. So you can just kind of sit back and wait. You can link this to the lifestyle one where you're different, and you wait until someone comes to you and says, why are you different? What must I do to be saved? What must I do to become pure and holy like you? And then and only then do you share the gospel. Now the beauty of this is no one's ever going to do that It ain't going to happen, but it should happen, because shouldn't people who want to get saved at least, exhibit some intention, some effort? Shouldn't it be a little bit of a hurdle to get over, rather than just, kind of freely coming and getting forgiven? Think of it this way. They're called seekers. Shouldn't they seek us out? Shouldn't they seek to find the way? So wait for someone to ask you, what must I do to be saved? And you will be able to avoid personal evangelism. You may already be doing this, but this is a very important method, and that is to join an invitational church. Join an invitational church. Join a church that has as its basic philosophy of ministry and evangelism, inviting your friends to church. Now, a couple of keys here. Number one, if you use some of these other methodologies, you won't even have any non-Christian friends to invite. And number two, simply inviting someone to church and then kind of handing them off to the pastor or someone else to deal with, you'll never actually have to do evangelism. If they have any questions, just refer them to the pastor. If they somehow want to get saved, refer them to the pastor. You don't have to do nothing. You just have to invite them. Now, I saw one very interesting spin on this. This is high skill level, where a church was doing an analysis of their ministry, and they were saying, what do we actually do for outreach? And one of the key leaders in the church identified the fact that they had a thrift shop. And their outreach to the community, he decided, was, we've got this thrift shop. That's our outreach to the community. Think of that. Don't have to do personal evangelism. And actually, people have to come to you and give you money as a part of your outreach to them. Brilliant. Invitational churches have all kinds of different ways of helping you avoid personal evangelism. Method number 8, get fully trained first. Again, very similar to the idea of fixing yourself first. Learn all the evangelism methods, memorize Romans, get answers to all the tough questions, learn some systematic theology. Just get thoroughly trained. Go through Alpha a few times. Just do whatever you have to do to get really full of knowledge, because we know that knowledge equips you, and knowledge helps you, and in no way puffs you up or makes you proud. So get all the knowledge you can. And only when you're fully trained and feel like you're ready do you begin participating in personal evangelism. And of course, as you know, it ain't ever going to happen. You're never going to feel fully trained, so you never have to do evangelism. Okay, for our final 2 strategies here, these are advanced. These are pro-level strategies for avoiding personal evangelism. And as you'll see in a second, what makes them so compelling is it actually looks like you're doing some significant ministry, but you don't actually have to do evangelism. Okay, you ready? Strategy number 9. Oh, you're going to love this one. Go on mission trips. That's right. Go on mission trips. Leave your community, leave your peers, fly halfway around the world and do, shovel some dirt, build a building, whatever, and then leave. And the beauty is you never have to deal with your peers. No one really gets to watch you, long term. And the truth is, we know that most of those mission trips really, they don't accomplish much for the people, for the people on the ground down there, but they accomplish a lot for those who go on the trips. It really helps you feel good that you're doing something significant. So go on those mission trips, and that goes a long way to suppressing all of the evangelism guilt you'll ever have. In fact, if you go once a year, you'll probably never feel guilty again. Oh, one bonus to this method is that people actually will admire you and hold you up as an example of a good Christian. Number 10. Oh man, I wish I would have come up with this one myself. It's so brilliant. Method number 10 for avoiding personal evangelism is, and entire churches and even denominations are using this one. It is this: emphasize the kingdom. Emphasize the kingdom. Now hear me out. What makes this one so brilliant is that Jesus emphasized the kingdom. And so by you emphasizing the kingdom, it looks like you're doing what Jesus did. But you don't have to use the word kingdom the way Jesus used the word kingdom. When Jesus used the word kingdom, it fit in with his whole methodology of, seeking and saving the lost, and healing and deliverance, and, and reaching out to the poor and the marginalized in society and calling people to loyalty to him. That's what he meant by the kingdom. But kingdom can be used much like discipleship. It can be an umbrella term for anything that seems kind of good or churchy or Christianish. You can make anything fit into an emphasis on the kingdom. You can give change to a panhandler. You can serve on some committee in your community. You can pick up litter. It all fits in under the kingdom. You can even get politically active. And this method is being used widely in these recent years. People are being politically active. They're demonstrating. They're speaking out. And, it feels like you're doing something righteous and proper, and in some cases you may actually be. But it can be a great way of avoiding engaging in personal evangelism. And one of the spin-offs is, because of the conduct of some of these very active people, a lot of us who want to share our faith and do evangelism have been hindered as well. That's how effective this method is of emphasizing the kingdom, and make it about an earthly kingdom. Make it about political power and being central in the culture. That's not what Jesus meant, but that's what, a lot of his followers thought it was about. So you can do that too. And if you emphasize the kingdom, man, it feels good. People can hold you up as an example, and you will never, ever have to share your faith. Which of these methods are you currently using? Did I miss any good ones? Do you have a strategy that I forgot to mention here? If you do, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to share it with others. So in conclusion, you can adopt some of these excellent methods for avoiding personal evangelism, for giving the illusion of following Jesus, but not actually joining him on his mission to seek and to save the lost. Or you can leave churchianity and start following Jesus.